In 1964, a young man had an idea that didn't look like a billion-dollar business. It wasn't technology, and it wasn't revolutionary. It was just shoes. His name was Phil Knight, and at the time, he wasn't trying to build a global brand. He was just trying to solve a simple problem. High-quality running shoes were expensive, and most athletes didn't have many options. So he thought, what if he could import better shoes from Japan and sell them at a lower price? That idea became the foundation of Nike. But in the beginning, nothing about it looked like success. Phil Knight was selling shoes out of the trunk of his car, driving from track meet to track meet, talking directly to athletes, trying to convince them to try something new. There was no big marketing, no brand recognition, just persistence. Slowly, sales started to grow. More customers, more orders, more opportunities. But with growth came pressure. Managing inventory, handling customer relationships, tracking sales, everything started to get more complicated. And this is where most small businesses start to struggle. Not because demand isn't there, but because things become harder to manage. At that stage, it's easy to think that the solution is to work harder. More effort, more hours, more hustle. But that only works for a while. Because when everything depends on effort alone, things start slipping. Orders get delayed. Opportunities get missed. Communication breaks down. And progress becomes inconsistent. Phil Knight faced that reality early. He realized that if the business was going to grow, it couldn't depend only on energy. It needed structure. So instead of just pushing harder, he started building systems around what he was already doing. Supply chains had to be organized. Orders had to be tracked. Relationships had to be managed more clearly. Because when you don't track what's happening, growth becomes unpredictable. And when growth is unpredictable, it's hard to scale. This is something most people experience today, just in a different way. Whether you're freelancing, running a small business, or creating content, the problem usually isn't a lack of opportunity. It's that everything is scattered. Messages in one place, clients in another, ideas somewhere else. And over time, this creates friction. You forget to follow up. You lose track of important conversations. You miss opportunities that could have turned into real results. Not because you're not capable, but because there's no system holding everything together. At some point, the shift becomes necessary. You stop trying to manage everything mentally, and you start creating a structure that organizes it for you. Something simple that lets you see what's happening, what matters, and what needs attention. Because when everything is clear, decisions become easier, and execution becomes faster. For Nike, that shift made all the difference. As the company grew, it wasn't just about selling more shoes. It was about building a system that could handle growth. Manufacturing had to scale. Distribution had to be efficient. Branding had to be consistent. And none of that happens without structure. And once that foundation was strong, everything accelerated. The brand grew, the market expanded, and Nike became more than just a product. It became a global identity. Today, Nike is one of the most recognized brands in the world. But that success didn't come from one big breakthrough. It came from building something that could grow without losing control. And that's the part most people overlook. Success isn't just about having a good idea or working hard. It's about having a system that allows everything to function together. And today, building that kind of structure is easier than ever. You don't need a large company or complex tools. You just need a way to organize what you're already doing. Your clients, your conversations, your opportunities, all in one place. Even simple setups exist now, just to help you move from chaos to clarity. Because in the end, the difference is always the same. Some people keep reacting, trying to keep up with everything. And others build systems that allow them to move with clarity and control. Phil Knight didn't succeed because shoes were a perfect idea. He succeeded because he built something that allowed that idea to grow. So the real question isn't whether your idea is good enough. It's whether you have a system that allows it to work. Because without that, even strong ideas struggle. But with it, even something simple can turn into something much bigger than you ever expected.